We're here because we're here because... I'm sorry, Jeff, do you need to check your audio? Just really shove that in your ear, and then I'll keep singing if that works.
Yeah, okay. You sound good now.
Because we're
Wait,
here.
I gotta get it farther in there.
Yeah, just
Still
really
not sounding good.
distort the hell out of it. Okay, still waiting for it to pop up. We got the ad rolling, which is very frustrating, I'm sure, for everybody. But let us know if you can see us, if you can hear us, everybody. Looks like we have an ad for Culver's running before. I gotta be smarter about trying to turn off those ads. It's stupid to have ads for just the MinnFAQs crew. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Dwar Hello notices that you aren't inside the wedding dress anymore.
That's right. I'm not sitting on the floor either, so this may be the first MinnMax video where my ass doesn't go numb, which would be nice.
Wow. See if you can hear the difference, everybody. Okay, great. We can start this show overall. Let me see. What do we got? Oh, boy. Okay, great. Hello and welcome to MinnFAQs, our weekly Q&A with Patreon supporters at the High Council tier. I'm Ben Hanson, and I'm joined today by Jeff Marchiafava.
Hello.
Welcome. And I'm drinking a mug with your face on it as well, just to really
Perfect.
sink in the full synergy here. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing good.
Do you like being called Jeffum? Do you have any thoughts? Do you ever wish that we would call you Jeff?
No, I don't care either way.
Great, just the way we like it.
I'm
Hello,
used to it.
everybody in the chat, the High Council folks here, Matthew Paxton, Yarrow, Jared B, Captain Stubbs 1, Time Bomb Tom, Robert Hudak, Max Johnner, Bob Buell, Holden Hintz, who did I miss? James Smith, Jawar, hello. Captain Stubbs 1, hello, everybody. If there's anybody new to the High Council here, let us know, and Jeffum will do his typical greeting for anybody new. Thank you for being here, everybody. So we're going to have a little discussion out of the gate, and then, obviously, you can let us know what questions you want us to answer. We will answer anything and everything about the future of MinnMax, present of MinnMax, past of MinnMax, anything in the world. Just let us know. We'll be happy to talk about it. Although people in the chat, like Max John, are there. He is new. I thought that was a new name. I know I've read your name for The Deepest Dive or something, but... All right, Jeff, do you want to say a little special hello to Max Johnner?
Okay, welcome to MinnMax.
That sounded amazing.
I'm sure.
Chris Fader in the chat says, is Jeffum wearing a Jeffum mask? I can't tell.
No, that's the secret. No, the Jeff mask has a beard, so that's how you can tell it. That's why I had to shave, just so that you know.
To be fair, it is insane that you don't have one, though. Like, it would be really funny to see you wearing a mask.
That would be pretty funny, wouldn't it?
For people that aren't familiar, if you go to MinnMax.com, there's a merch store, and there's a link there for getting a face mask that I uncomfortably forced Jeffum to take a picture of his face to put on. And Captain Stubbs 1 actually bought it, and he has a big old beard, and then took a picture of it and sent it to us, and I tweeted it out. It seems absurd, but in a good way. Thank you for being here, Max, and I'm glad that your name is Max, because apparently we're connected to that word in a big, bad way now. Okay, Jeffum, you're here. We're here out of the gate to unpack some stuff. If you saw last Friday in the MinnMax Discord, we had a post in the announcements channel, a bit of a mea culpa. I think this entire experience has been a learning process. There's so much to try and wrap your mind around with launching something like MinnMax, and I just, out of the gate, I think my fault, and what I'd like to apologize for, is that basic idea of saying, the Discord, it's the best place on the internet. It's Shangri-La. It's beautiful. Moving on. And it's that basic thing of learning more and more from more community members' experience. I still think it's a very good place, and don't take this as condemnation for anybody in the Discord, please. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, from your perspective, I understand that it's great. If you're a woman in the Discord or a minority, like, I don't think you're going to be all out harassed. Obviously, if there is harassment, please let the mods know, and we'll take care of it and boot their butt out of there. But it is that situation of, we have set up a system in the Discord that isn't great for highlighting some more diverse voices. It's very easy for that Discord to slip into boys club dick jokes, which I think was an interesting lesson that we learned overall at MinnMax as well. Was it like a couple months ago, somebody in the Discord brought up in the suggestions channel, like, hey, sometimes some of the jokes from the podcasts or videos make me a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little boys clubbish. And my first instinct was like, I can't imagine that's true. I think everyone would be comfortable. And then it's this realization of like, yeah, you idiot. Of course that's true. And I love that through the Discord community and the MinnMax community, I've had those moments of like my gut reaction be like, no. But it's like, oh, no, you just stop and think about it for a bit. And it's like, yeah, that's a great point. We want this place to be more inviting to women, to be more inviting to everybody to come in and join the MinnMax experience overall. And then at the same time, it's like, oh, well, I want to make dick jokes every once in a while. It's like, why? What are you gaining from this, you idiot?
Yeah, and I think that is the perfect example of it. It's that kind of instinctual, like, well, no, there's no problem here, where, like, none of us are jumping to that conclusion in order to exclude anyone. It's just that we kind of, because it's a default for a lot of us, it's just something that we're not thinking of right out of the gate. And the interesting thing about that example was, when we did think about it and when we did talk internally about it, we were like, yeah, none of us really like those jokes anyway to begin with. Like, we're not proud of, like, when we slip into that stupid, like, low-hanging fruit, easy dick jokes.
Right.
But it just took someone calling that. And I think the other reason that's a good example is when someone brought that up in a, like, a very respectful way, but immediately there were a couple people like, oh no, there's not a problem here either. And I think that's the kind of behavior where, again, they're not doing anything maliciously or on purpose or anything like that, but it's that instinctual, hey, let's all jump in here and tell this person essentially that the thing that they're bringing up isn't really a concern or it isn't a problem. And I think that's the kind of thing that's shutting down conversations when we don't have to be, because we both really appreciated getting that feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yes. So as the Discord has evolved, it's a fascinating, if you like systems, and Jeff, I know you do, right? Like, it's really fascinating to try and think about, like, yeah, how can we have this Discord with over 2,000 people in it and keep everybody happy, sustained, heard, involved. What are the secret ingredients here? And so, another one of my mistakes, I think, was getting out of the gate. And, I think talking to the mods earlier about this, to the point that it went into the rules and policies thing about just no politics, everybody. Like, let's not talk about politics. I don't want to see debates about presidential candidates in this Discord. Like, any topic like that that can tear people apart, let's just not do it. Even, I talked to, the cohorts, and even I think on MinnFAQs a little bit about even something as simple as like those top 10 lists. I get so worried about it because it's like, I just don't want to create ill will for anybody. Like, why spur on debates in here? Like, talking about games is fun, but when it gets to like, I'm going to lock in my point of view and your voice is excluded, that is brutal. But so one of the things is like, let's just have no politics as a rule. As time has gone on, that becomes a bit trickier. It's like that obvious thing of people might see that in the Discord and say, okay, so I shouldn't talk about like Black Lives Matter in the Discord. It's like, well, no, that's like a part of society. Of course, if you have thoughts on it, like, you're welcome to share. That's fine. Just do it in a respectful way. Just respect above all else here, right?
Yeah.
And then, several people brought up the point that not being able to talk about, or just putting that ban on political talk in general, locks things into a stasis for the structure where it's at, which is a bit of a boys' club overall, a white boys' club, if I may be specific, right? And so it's not a matter of, well, now game on, everybody, let's get into as many political arguments as possible, but just that easy banner of no politics is BS. It doesn't work for people if you're actually trying to get better as a community here.
Yeah, and no one understands what counts as politics to begin with, and we had it pointed out to us, and I think it's a really good point that when you just say broadly no politics, that gives people in power the ability to just shut down conversations by calling something politics, which is something that literally happens in political discourse all the time. Like, people will say, oh, that's political, in order to get, a base of people to just not like whatever that idea is.
Gun control. It's like, we can't go into politics now. We can't talk about gun control after this mass shooting. And it's like, well, okay.
Yeah. And I think it's even worse for us, because we have an actual rule that says, okay, if something has been deemed political, then it just can't be talked about.
Right. So do you want to talk a little bit about what happened last week to kind of kick off some evolutions on our end?
Yeah, so essentially that is exactly how this came up, where, a, a couple people were having a conversation in general or one of the other channels, and they had mentioned someone had a coworker with some flag, like a "Don't tread on me" flag or something like that. And that a mod stepped in and said that, hey, this conversation's getting political. Let's shut it down, and kind of added his own opinion as he was shutting down the conversation, which made some people uncomfortable, and it made a few community members rightfully, inquire about why is this being shut down. What exactly was the problem here? Because it seemed like no one in the conversation, felt it was being political or was uncomfortable with where it was going to begin with. And it gets into that larger issue of saying that something's political is just super vague to begin with. And so they wanted to have that conversation. The mod created a new kind of private conversation, which we will be talking about and figuring out how to kind of address these things so that it's open to everyone to see when a mod makes a decision like that. But in this case, it kind of became a private conversation. And when people were asking what were, genuine questions, the tone just became very blunt and wasn't really respecting the questions that were being brought up. And it's just, it was not the kind of tone that we would want, anyone in our community, because it's hard to bring something up in, like when you feel that you are being sensitive to something or that something's upsetting to you, but it may not be upsetting to everyone. That is a genuinely hard thing to bring up. Like it takes courage to do that. And if you're bringing something up like that in MinnMax, whether it's with mods or with the larger community or with us hosts or whatever, I think we would want people to take that seriously and to at least be sensitive to it and not assume that, you're doing it for other ulterior motives or to, treat you sarcastically or something like that when you bring it up.
Right. So then that kind of prompted a discussion about, should we make a change here? We asked that mod to step down. He stepped down. I believe he left the Discord. And, it's that thing of, I don't know, like getting specific. It's like, it's not too much of a stretch, but like, if you're in the Discord, it was Stud Muffin, who's done a lot of great work with the community, has been there for a long time, has helped us in a lot of ways overall. And it was just that thing of like, just the tone wasn't right for a mod. Like he still has been a really positive member of the community. Overall, it's just not the right tone for a mod. So I talked to him and asked him if he'd be willing to step down as a mod. And then also in the same chunk, Vaughn, who was also a mod, we talked to him like, hey, how you doing? We're thinking about shaking up the mods a little bit. Do you still feel engaged? Do you want to be a mod? And he's like, I'm not as involved as I think I wanted to be, so I think I'm going to go ahead and step down. It's just these small changes. And at the same time, Shazira, who has been a positive member of the MinnMax community, was interested in becoming a mod. And so I was like, oh, great. Okay, let's make this swap. And then at the same time, make that statement about, hey, here's what happened, everybody. And then we're also changing the rules and policies to hopefully be more flexible moving forward. And, it's that thing of, it's a growing process. We're going to tweak things as we move and go along just to try and keep that Discord as positive and as open-minded as possible.
Yeah. I think, the biggest takeaway is that we want everyone to feel welcome and respected here. And so I feel like, the vast majority of the community is behind that too and wants that too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if our rules are vague about what you can even discuss or shouldn't be discussing, then no one has an idea of, like, well, is this a situation where I shouldn't be talking about this? Is this a situation where they shouldn't be talking about it and I should bring it up to them or anything like that? Like,
yeah,
we need clear rules and we need more thoughtful rules going forward.
Yeah.
So that everyone's on the same page and we can all get to this goal that we hopefully all have to begin with.
Right. It's an ongoing learning process. It's a bizarre thing to make this small society subculture, in that Discord, and then just trying to figure out, the best way to organize things and communicate things. And so we're naive to the whole process. And, people like Vaughn have been so influential from the start of the Discord. Lauren was a mod for a long time. So all the mods have been doing a great job overall. So again, we just want to thank them. And with Shazira stepping up, I think it's going to be an interesting opportunity to kind of look at where we're at in the Discord and just make sure that it is as welcoming as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, at the same time, this is a little bit internal, but it's also a matter of like, Jeff, you did a lot of mod stuff at Game Informer, but you're going to be a more direct point of contact for the mods in the Discord as well, which will be nice because, there's so many times where I can check that mod channel and be like, okay, I think I understand what's going on, but it's kind of a lot to wrap your mind around in addition to some other stuff that is going on here.
Yeah, and that's also why we want, like the community's help and support behind all of this too, because no matter how many mods we add, they're not going to be able to police every conversation either.
Right.
Like we all have to kind of be on the same page and be looking out for these kind of things. Because like I said, in the example that we gave, it's like no one is going out of their way to break any rules or to be offensive to anyone. But I think we all at some points need that gut check of like, wait, am I just jumping to a conclusion or am I, is my knee-jerk reaction to this and voicing that going to be detrimental to someone else's experience here or make someone feel like they're not being heard or they're not being welcome? And I think if we have everyone, mindful of that and trying to help each other out with that, then it will make it easier on the mods and us cohorts and everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. There we go. So let us know if you have any questions, concerns, just about, where we're at, tweaking the rules and policies, stuff like that, and definitely if you have any concerns about the Discord in general, you can reach out to the mods. The mods can let Jeff know. So everybody, please be nice to the mods and don't overwhelm them at the same time. If there are concerns, please definitely reach out. Matthew Paxton has a lighter question for you, Jeffem. He says, what is behind Jeffem? A ton of board games, or are there boxes of video games in there too?
They are board games in this room. I have another shelf with some video games on it, but that's by my TV. And this is actually this is a smaller part of my larger board game collection, which is kind of scary.
And that's just like a Scrooge McDuck vault that you dive into every night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Swim around in all the little pieces.
That seems fair. There's some questions about the modding and stuff and community overall, so we should get those before we get to random stuff. So get those random questions ready. Time Bomb Tom says, do you have any thoughts on renaming the High Council, as some of us feel like it's portraying us as better, and we certainly don't feel that way? That's an interesting idea. I like the name High Council just for a smaller discussion group. We can think about it. If you have other names, let us know. You're definitely not better, but part of the discussion every week, so it'd be nice to differentiate that in some way instead of the MinnFAQs crew, which is kind of what it was before, and it's like, that's not fun. Brian Keys Jr. says, I know these aren't easy conversations to have, but I know how much the community appreciates it. Oh, that's nice. Ian Clark says, Shaz is an amazing community member. Great. We agree. Major Panda says, what was the original process for finding mods? Originally, it was launching the Discord, and a lot of people in the chat
realizing that none of us know anything about Discord.
Oh my God, do I not know anything about Discord? And so there's a lot of people in the chat, like Vaughn and Lauren, and everybody was kind of jumping in there early on, and Roland, and just saying like, oh, it should be structured like this, should be this, should be this, should be this. And I was like, I don't know what you all are saying. Okay. And I think they had experience by and large from like the Easy Allies Discord and stuff like that. It's like, okay, please help out with that. And then, as it's evolved, it's hopefully found its level a little bit more. But yeah, there were some stats shared with us. I think Jay Walter figured it out, but just for overall number of posts in the Discord since the origins, like it is getting to be very active overall, which is great, but also just hopefully it's more stressful for the mods, but hopefully it's not going to be overwhelming for the mods and for us. And it's a tough thing too. Jeff, I don't know if you have thoughts on this, but in Discord, you're able to like purge people from the Discord if they haven't been active for like 7 days or 30 days. And I said, I haven't done it yet, but that's that weird thing too of like how militant do we want to be about purging people from the Discord? Or even, the discussion we've had a couple times too is like, well, if the $2 thing lapses and they don't want to support MinnMax for that month, is it permanent in the Discord? Right now it is, but if we are worried about the amount of conversation happening in there, we might be open to changing that in the future just to try and keep it to a tighter, more focused community so it doesn't just keep sprawling and make our mods pull their hair out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yarrow says, what if we renamed it to the Knights of the Round? Well, that's even more prestigious than a High Council, so that's confusing. Jawar, hello. Maybe just call the MinnFAQs Council. Removing the high helps remove the potentially perceived elevated status. Okay, those are interesting suggestions. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay, other questions here. Questions about anything under the sun. Krista K says, Jeffem, do you have any Better Quest-esque goals for yourself lately?
I guess it would be to finally come up with a goal and actually be on Better Quest. When
Better
Hanson,
Quest,
every month, Hanson has asked me if I wanted, because I had expressed interest in it earlier, and then every month he's like, "All right, this, tonight we're filming it. Do you want to come on?" And it's like, I'm so busy. I don't know if I should. So I should just make a goal. Yeah. My goal will be to make a goal for the next Better Quest.
Okay. What? Not judging. What are you busy with? What's your life like these days?
We are in the process of redoing the whole house, which is why I'm in here. I just made this into a studio.
Really? Can you rotate the camera around? Can you give us a tour for the viewers?
Let's
my God!
This is the spare bedroom. So
it's like a disheveled bed. It looks like it's just
that's pretty much in here.
Soiled.
Yeah,
stunning.
We decided not to wash any of the sheets or anything and just leave the bed soiled, but everything else we cleaned.
This and again for the audio listeners, it was like MTV Cribs but better. That tour was unbelievable.
It was very impressive.
So that's your office, studio, board game room. That's the overall.
Yeah, for now.
I'm going to be looking at a house. Not to buy, but just to rent, because I think I've talked about MinnFAQs before several times, but we're going to be shaking things up, so we're going to be leaving the studio in September. And so we're trying to rent a house that has a room in it that can become the MinnMax studio, which is surprisingly difficult because it's a lot of like, we got a basement. Then you go there and it's like, it just reeks and there's mildew and there's like holes in the cement. This isn't going to work. But I'm going to be checking out a house later today that I'm very excited about. Like the house is awesome and small, and then the basement just happens to be like a perfect layout for the MinnMax studio overall. And it's got like a pine. Well, I'll save it because we probably won't even get this house. You never know.
Okay.
But just
where is it?
It's like South Minneapolis, somewhere around there, which I like being in Northeast Minneapolis, but that's very specific to Minneapolis. It'll be more of a pain in the ass for you to drive there. So whenever COVID goes away, look forward to that, please.
Yeah.
Also speaking about Better Quest a little bit, which did you ever say one, by the way? You didn't. You just said you're remodeling the house.
Yeah, no. I guess my wife has given me a bunch of like woodworking projects to like build furniture and stuff, so I should start doing that.
Okay. All right. That seems good. You should call into next month and figure something out here.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
Get myself on the hook for it.
That's right. But we should point out that, it's great. The Better Quest channel on the Discord is awesome with people sharing updates of the hikes they're going on, the runs, the arts, the skateboarding, a lot of awesome stuff going on in there. And then I just realized it's still a little bit too disorganized. And so we actually made a spreadsheet that we posted in there as well. It's just like a public spreadsheet. Everyone be cool. Don't delete other people's goals. But you can just go in there and add your name and your goal and your previous month goal as well, just to better keep track of where everybody's at. So it's the pinned message in that channel. If you haven't done that yet, that'd be great because,
nice.
We have it as a call-in show overall, but even if you can't support at the tier to call in, we want everyone to jump in there. Travis Brinkley. Ben, do you still remember the name of the 3D action game from the PlayStation 5 event that you promised we're going to remember the name of? It was something like Shiloh : Spirit Awakens. Do you remember what that thing was called?
No.
Oh man, game stream reveals. How do you Google this thing? It was like the one where it's like the kid in the forest, and I said, that looks cool. Don't let me forget the name of that. And every time it's come up, it's been impossible to remember.
We forgot that so long ago.
Yeah. Look, someone in the chat can tell me. Hang on. Kenna Bridge of Spirits. All right, not bad.
Shiloh was close.
All right, thank you. Let's see. We have more questions. I'm trying to sort through all this stuff. Yarrow, oh, here's a fun one. Says, nice picture for the stream. We have a Far Cry 6 picture here. If you guys were the kid of a dictator, what would you do whenever you took over? Well, Jeff, that's funny. You are the child of a dictator. We haven't talked about your dad much, but he's a ruthless baron.
Let's see. So if you were a kid,
the kid of a dictator,
you'd probably just get like a really big TV and just play video games, right?
Yeah. Well, but so you're ruling the country just by playing games?
No, I mean your dad's ruling the country, so
no, but when you take over is the question.
Oh, like when you inherit it?
Mm-hmm. Like, do you just say, hey, it's a democracy now. Don't kill me. Like, that's like an important second part of that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the nice way to do it.
Okay. Do you think you could do it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what kind of scenario I would be the son of a dictator with to begin with, and how that would screw me up.
Uh-huh. I mean, it would just make you the biggest spoiled brat. You look like a Kim Jong-un. He just like loved the Chicago Bulls and stuff, and now he gets to hang out with Dennis Rodman. I think that would, and people say that he's like softer than his dad. It seems very nebulous and confusing. But I think number one, you're just like a spoiled rich little wiener, right?
Yeah.
Okay. James Smith. Jeff, I want you to think about that a little bit more and get back to us.
Okay.
Okay, with your thoughtful plans. James Smith says, since The Deepest Dive in The Last of Us Part 2 is wrapping up this week, are you ready to announce The Deepest Dive for Little Women? We are not ready to announce The Deepest Dive for Little Women. Again, I love Little Women. I would love to do that, but it would be like announcing The Deepest Dive on something I talked about before, The Deepest Dive on Peter Pan. It's like there's no boundary for what you're covering there. Is it like on all of us to read the book, watch every adaptation, or like just read the book and watch the latest movie? I feel like if it's the Deepest Dive, you got to do every incarnation of Little Women. That's like the spirit of the Deepest Dive, and that's untenable. But maybe there's like a max spoilers for Little Women for Greta Gerwig's film or something, right? There might be some middle ground there. James Smith says, also, while we're at it, let me float the idea of paparazzi snap, where we take and submit paparazzi photos of Jeffem. Jeffem, I cannot imagine anything you'd love more than seeing the community find you and take pictures of you in your daily life.
Yeah, that sounds like a great way to ruin my life.
God, speaking of life, I was just shipping something at a U.S. Postal Service store, I think, or something. There's this guy.
Post office?
No, it wasn't. UPS store? Yeah, I think it was UPS store.
Okay.
But there's a guy in front of me, and he's like, is this getting there overnight? And they're like, no, it's not guaranteed. It might be like 2 days, most likely 2 days. And he's like, for $110, you can't get that overnight? I'm like, yeah, no. And then he just starts swearing and like launching into these folks about like some business, pretty good business. I'd like to get in this business if I could charge somebody $110 and can't get them this thing overnight. And they're like, it's just that frustrating thing of like seeing people not realize the power of the people that they're talking to. Like, what do you think? That if you yell enough, they can make the plane go faster for shipping your seeds to Nantucket or whatever the hell you're doing here? It's just, it makes me so mad to see that. And so then he left and he was swearing on his way out. And then I went up to the counter and I said, I promise I'm not going to be a dick. That was my big announcement to them. And they didn't really appreciate it. They was like, just tell us what you want, sir, and get out. Anyways, that's it. Holden Hint says, Jeffem, please grab one game behind you and sell me on it. Ooh, good one, Holden.
I do that on like every other episode of the...
Just do it right now. Do it right now.
I'm not wearing pants.
All right, you don't have to grab it. The one game that I recognize that I can see is Azul, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's like right there.
Yep. And it won Game of the Year in 2018. And I love that game so much. 2 to 4 players. It's almost impossible to describe. I'm an idiot when it comes to describing tabletop games, but when I try to describe it to like my parents, I'm like, it's kind of like Yahtzee with tile placement strategy. It's just, how would you describe Azul, Jeff?
Yeah, so you're drafting tiles. You're pulling them from a couple different groups, so you have to decide which group you're pulling them from, and then you have to collect a certain number of them in order to lock one into your board. It's a big mess of there's no good way to explain that.
It's very fun.
But it's a fun game.
If you like light strategy and placing tiles, and it's fun too because it's like, I'm an idiot when it comes to tabletop stuff. You could probably tell if you listened to that pandemic interview I did with the designer. But like, it's very fun because it's all about like building up and maximizing your own board. And it's not until the end that it's like, oh, here's the score, and it tallies up, and you didn't quite make it. But it feels a little bit like Splendor in that way, where it's like you're so focused on your own board, and things are snowballing on your own board that it feels good, it feels good, it feels good. It's just a dopamine drip of game design up until the end. It's like, yeah, but you didn't win. It's like, okay, well, I still had fun the entire time. Plus, it's like so focused on your own board, but the beauty of Azul is that you're taking from the communal pot in this drafting thing. And so if you are paying enough attention, you can really F over the people that you're playing with. But just in the right level, I would say, not overwhelming there. Travis McGaughey says, regarding the conversation about the things going on in the Smash community, on the podcast, I was really glad to hear you talk about that. How do you plan to handle more adult topics on the show? I don't know. I don't know if that's like a conscious shift of we should talk about, more serious issues on the show instead of just focusing on games, but it's just been a wild year, and it's irresponsible to not talk about it, I think, in some way. And so, there's been a very subtle shift in my opening, if you've noticed. It used to be a good place to forget bad things. And then at a certain point in 2020, it's like, we just can't. That's a stupid way to open a show.
There's no forgetting.
Yeah, exactly. That's irresponsible there. And so we changed it a little bit there. But yeah, no plans of like, we're going to talk about a quote-unquote serious topic every week, but if something comes up and it seems like, okay, people should know about this and people are curious about it, we should definitely talk about it. Marville, as of right now, do you have any plans for Extra Life? I do not. Part of that depends on, what Game Informer's doing. It's that tough thing of we want to make the most of Extra Life to raise money for charity. For Gillette Children's Specialty Healthcare in St. Paul, Minnesota. I've done it so many years at Game Informer. It's kind of fun, I think, for Game Informer to do it on their own. I don't know if I would want to step back in, but then it's also like, well, we share so much of the same community. Is that stupid not to combine forces? And then if we just did it like on our Twitch channel, we'd probably not reach the same audience that we would if we did it on our YouTube channel, and we'd reach a much bigger audience if we were at Game Informer. So if we did it this year and helped out Game Informer overall with that, maybe it'd be a bigger branding of like MinnMax cross Game Informer or something like that. But all stuff to be figured out in the future. We got until November to figure that out. But yes, we would love to do something like that this year. Or maybe we find a different charity and just do it in that same time frame and let Game Informer carry on with the Gillette Children's Hospital. And I'm not bitter, but there's a part of me, Jeff. We raised over $400,000 for that hospital throughout the run of Extra Life at Game Informer, and I reached out to them several times asking for a tour to take pictures and stuff for the next year, and they never got back to me about that. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
I'm sure it just got lost in the email somewhere, but I'm like, I don't want to be like, do you know how much money we've raised for you? But it's like, you offered a tour years ago and we politely passed, and now I'd like to take that tour, and they're like, not so much. I understand now. It's a little bit tricky with COVID. Anyways, Bob Buell, now that we're several months removed from the rebranding, how do you feel about the current MinnMax logo? Bob Buell, what a great MinnFAQs question. Jeff, how do you feel about the MinnMax logo?
I like it.
Okay, fine.
Do you not?
My first instinct when I saw it was like, I guess that'll do. And then I grew to really like it. And then every once in a while I just have those moments of like, it's this weird realization of like, that's the logo. Okay. Like I think I was so like embedded in seeing so many iterations of that thing that it's not just like, and here's the logo. I still see it as like a work in progress, I think maybe more than most people. But yeah, I like it overall. I like our color scheme. I like using that YouTube template that was designed for us by Jeff Wiggins, the designer and stuff. So that's really handy and fun to see how dynamic we can be with that overall. Like, okay, now we can adapt it for a frame for Refreshed, for Anna's show, and Deepest Dive is fun to find images that fit perfectly in that window and stuff. So it's very fun. But for Last of Us, it has to be an image that summarizes the conversation perfectly, fits in the window, and also doesn't spoil it for people who haven't been playing the game, which is surprisingly difficult. Yeah. But I think I got a winner for the last one, Jeff. One that, like, no spoilers, but at the same time, it's like if you've played the game, it's like, aha. But here's the problem. Because a lot of people say for thumbnail images, for spoilers, it's like, well, out of context, you don't know what it is. But if it's a picture of like a setting or an object, then you're going to think that is, it still colors your perception, especially a setting. Because it's like, okay, now I know that I might be going this location. Or with an object, now I know that this object is going to be relevant and I'll be on the lookout for that. So it's very difficult to find the right level. But I think I did it. I think I did it.
You got to pick like just a random shoe or something.
Right.
And then people will be playing the whole thing being like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my feet.
Well, no, that's a good point. I think that's a thing because if you want to pick something random, but even then that will color people's perception. Like, right now we have...
I know. I want to make everyone think about feet the entire time they're playing those.
You sicko. Yarrow says, I've got a hypothetical question for you guys. Let's say someone came to you with the idea of buying you out. Would you consider it? And if so, what would be your terms?
$10 million for each of us.
Yes. But then you own us, I think is the catch.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, we're your little sicko playthings at that point. Yeah, I don't know. That would be, hey, Yarrow, that's not a realistic question. But, you think about it, with like Spotify buying the Ringer and stuff. Like, would we ever grow to a point where somebody would try and buy MinnMax? I mean, just as a nerd, I would love to be on the inside of one of those conversations about like, how are these things discussed? How would that even possibly go down?
I think the answer is you just throw out a crazy number, but you do it so confidently that they think you're actually worth that.
Right.
And then they just pay you.
I think that's how it works. Yeah. And here's the beauty, Jeff Gerstmann has talked about it a couple times too with Giant Bomb, where CBS bought Giant Bomb. And his thing's always like, well, if it sucks, we'll all quit and start something new because when it's personality focused, go ahead and buy the business. Oh no, we lose the name MinnMax. And by the way, there's no intention of doing this. But it's just a nice thing of just like, okay, we could just go start something new then at that point. It's all that weird, ambiguous thing. Anyways, Taylor Reinsch says, finishing those woodworking projects can be your quest. Oh, there we go. Back to where we were.
That's right.
Captain Stubbs 1 asked a very interesting question for you, Jeff. I'm asking, would Jeffem wear a mask of my face?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Let him know and send it his way. Major Panda says, do you think The Last of Us has been a harder, deepest dive than you expected? In terms of difficulty of the game, no. In terms of talking about stuff, honestly, I thought it was going to be worse. Maybe just our community is really positive overall. I mean, there's a couple people on YouTube that are like, you shills. I don't know what they're getting at. I don't know. We like the game. But based on, I think I did like a trailer reaction video for The Last of Us Part 2, and those comments were so bad that I was worried that this was just going to be a toxic S show the entire time. But some people don't like it, and they write in about it, and they're really respectful in talking about why they don't like it and stuff, which is fine. But it's actually been better than I expected. And then in terms of like content or talking about it, I don't like being bummed out, and I don't like violence and stuff. But I wasn't that disturbed by the game overall. I thought it'd be more depressing, but it's a little bit like I remember going to Naughty Dog and talking to Neil and Bruce at Naughty Dog about working on Uncharted 4 after finishing The Last of Us, and I was like, oh man, must just be like a breath of fresh air, like working on this uplifting adventure game instead of The Last of Us. And they brought up the good point that it's like, it's not like we're living in the world. It's just like game development in general. So I feel a little bit that way with The Last of Us discussion where, yeah, we're talking about some dark things, but it's not making me think that I'm living in these shoes, throughout this month period or whatever. But what do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I, it's been fine, I think, and I've really enjoyed every discussion that we've had about it. And the questions are as insightful, or the replies from the community are as insightful as they always are. So
yeah,
it's been good. It hasn't been too tough to talk about anything. I've certainly had plenty of notes and thinking like, oh, this was interesting. I want to talk about that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. The no spoilers here, guaranteed. But have you finished it?
I have.
Okay. I am just flabbergasted by Twitter and how much people are spoiling willy-nilly. Even in like interviews not related to The Last of Us. I'll go ahead and put him on blast. But like Andy McNamara in his Kind of Funny interview, like he just like dropped a, not huge spoiler, but pretty good sized spoiler in there. And I was like, what do you, it's optional. Just don't say this thing. Like it seems very easy. It's very frustrating.
That's why it's super nice doing these deepest dives, because whenever I think of something, I'll think of something, like, oh, I want to say this or whatever. And then it's like, oh, I shouldn't say it on social media though, because of spoilers or anything.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's like, well, anything I could possibly ever want to say, I'll have 12 hours to say it.
Yeah, exactly. And still in this last gameplay section, there's been things that I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy that I've been thinking about this for every chunk of a discussion and I haven't brought it up yet. So there's still some basic things that we're going to talk about. William Garcia has a good question saying, what's the best way to hold MinnMax accountable to the changes you laid out if we see something questionable or otherwise see that we are heading in a less inclusive / welcoming direction in the Discord? What do you think, Jeff?
Tell the mods and tell us. I mean, just add us.
Yeah.
With the @ thing, so
right.
that that we get the message. But I think, just bringing it
first.
up, I think our the mods that we have now, they're all like super excited about the changes that we're trying to do, and they're all, they're driving this goal to make everything as inclusive as possible, as much as we are.
Yeah.
And so I think if you have any kind of concerns like that, that's exactly what we want to hear about and what they want to hear about. And I think, we'll all respond to that and would greatly appreciate that feedback. I don't imagine a scenario in which, us and all of the leadership in the mods are all, doing something that is purposely excluding anyone.
Yeah. Brian Keys Jr., how do you organize your board games, Jeff? Are they alphabetical?
No, but they're not. That's a tricky one, but the biggest deciding factor is what size the box is, so that I can squeeze in as many in each of the little cubby holes. That kind of overrides anything else. And then if I can break it down, sometimes it's by publisher or type of game, or sometimes theme, because each little, cubby hole kind of ends up being different.
Yeah.
It would be great if I could just do like, okay, this is my favorite down to the least favorite or anything like that, but just the size of the boxes makes
those cubbies. Yeah. Major Panda, can we get some pants for Jeff in the merch store? Well, I guess you can just buy enough masks with your face on them and just line your legs with them until they become pants.
That'd be good looking. I am wearing shorts, I will say.
All right. Well, he's not going to show it, so don't believe him.
I'm not Donald ducking it over here or anything.
Jawar Hello says, did either of you catch Dan Tack streaming Twitch Sings? It was a lot of fun, and we definitely need the MinnMax crew to do Twitch Sings too. Did you see this, Jeff?
No, I didn't.
Well, let's see if I can... I don't know if I can find a way to pull this up. Let's see. Let's go to Dan's... Maybe somebody made a clip of it. Dan Snacks, I believe is his name. Okay, and then let's look at clips. Does he allow clips on his thing? Recent broadcasts, videos. Oh. I'm not seeing a clip. I found a clip on the Discord, I believe. Okay, hang on a second. Maybe this is. Look, this is MinnFAQs, baby. Slowly trying to Google things. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Because this clip was unbelievable. Here we go.
Surprises on the moonlit night. All this time, I can't believe it. I couldn't see. You kept me in the dark, but you weren't there.
So that's Dan Tack singing and Twitch Sings. I love Twitch Sings, man. I want to go back and play that at some point. Somebody sent me a clip of him singing Baby Got Back. And it was like, well, this is it. This is the internet now, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dan Tack singing Baby Got Back. But God bless him for being open with his community and doing that. And I would love to do that again because it's so fun. But even just looking at his archive, I'm still annoyed that it's a Twitch product and they still mute half the songs in the archive. It's insane. Let's see. Shazira says the Dan Tech musical spectacular of 2020 was so incredibly amazing, and he was such a great sport about it. I would love to see you guys Twitch Sings. We did it a long time ago. I don't know if that archive is still up, but it technically happened when Wade was in town. Maybe we can wait for him to come back. Did you get to check out Devolverland Expo this week? It was a cool way to advertise their games and got me to check out trailers. What was your favorite advertisement for a game? I didn't check out Devolver's thing. I watched Ubisoft's yesterday, but is it worth watching the Devolver thing? I'm not sure. What is your favorite advertisement for a game? Smash Brothers, So Happy Together. It's pretty good. Or the launch trailer for Mass Effect 2. Does anything come off the top of your head there, Jeff?
Which game was it that parodied the Gears of War game? Was it like a Halo? Or no, Bulletstorm?
Yep.
Bulletstorm?
Yeah, where they like puked at the end or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty smart. Pretty smart.
Pretty smart. Yeah.
Brian Case Jr., any ideas for what this week's Community Top 10 will be so people can start thinking about their nominations? I think we're going to have a lot to talk about on this week's podcast. We're going to try taking a break from the Community Top 10 for this week is what I'm thinking right now, but we'd love to do it again in the future for sure. Ian Clark, there has been a resurgence of people in the community playing Splatoon 2, which is really exciting for me. It came out in 2017. Were any of the cohorts into the game when it came out? Yeah. I beat the single player, I think. Now I'm really second guessing it. I was more into the first one for sure, but I played it a little bit. And the fact that Anna mains as Inkling in Smash is an inkling that she might be really into Splatoon 2, but that'd be really fun to get competitive about Splatoon 2.
Wasn't Kyle too?
Yeah, I assume so. God, that would be fun to get like a dedicated Splatoon 2 team and take it as seriously as possible. That'd be awesome. James Smith, not to keep on about it, but I do think a Deepest Dive on last year's Little Women adaptation is at least worth putting in a vote. But it's not the Deepest Dive, man. I hope you get it. Chris Fader, is there any branding logo merch out there or plans for it for Better Quest? Oh. George Decay. No. Yeah, it'd be fun to have merch for all of our shows. We do have MinnTRAX merch, but Better Quest doesn't really have a set logo. So maybe we could like contract out with Audrey, who designed our Deepest Dive stuff. Maybe she could do a generic Better Quest logo. That'd be really fun because you could do it like in an EverQuest style font or something. That'd be really fun, actually.
With Cork's face on there?
Yes, absolutely. Time Bomb Tom asks, how much of the buyout do we get? 100% of it, I believe, is how that works. Time Bomb Tom, Ghost of Tsushima is this week. Will you be playing it? Do you want to join the Ghost Dive? Ghost Dive is the community game club discussion for Ghost of Tsushima. Will we be playing it? I have it, thanks to a code from Sony, but I have not started it yet. Jeff, where are you at with that one?
I had started before we got into The Last of Us 2, and I went back to it 2 days ago, and that is a rough relearning curve.
Oh, really? You got to stay in that
controls are so different, but I have been playing it and enjoying it. Kyle has played a ton of it because he played through The Last of Us 2 first.
Okay. So save your thoughts for this week's episode of the MinnMax shows when we can dive more into it. Yarrow says, with the Steam summer sale now over, did you pick up any games? Also, what has been your best deal in terms of what you got out of a game for the cheapest? Oh, the best deal for a game ever was when I bought The Thing video game new, and it came with the Thing DVD. And then I played the game, but I got stuck because I missed the sniper rifle and I screwed myself over. And I returned the game and got a full reimbursement, but then kept the Thing DVD because I was a little stinker. So I got to keep a copy of one of my favorite movies of all time. So it all worked out.
There you go.
Steam Summer Sale. Jeff, your computer sucks, so I'm guessing you didn't check it out.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Just get a computer, man.
Also, I got that Itch.io deal where I got like 10,000 games for, a steal.
Right. And I am spoiled, and it's a dirty secret amongst the game industry, folk, but I have the Steam Press account, so I don't actually need to buy those games, which is how we're able to stream so many games for Great Goaty Hunt and stuff without going bankrupt. Chris Fader says, related note to my last question, can we get Better Quest merch that's an image of Jeffem playing Red Dead 2? It'd be truly inspiring imagery. It's interesting. What do you think of that?
That'll never happen.
Okay. Maybe we can get that paparazzi shot of you playing Red Dead 2 in your house.
Yeah, you'd have to Photoshop Red Dead into it, though.
USOB. Taylor says, I love the Andy McNamara interview. He articulated very well why I like biking so much. Any chance of a Cotto exit interview? That's an interesting thing. I hadn't considered that. I don't know if Cotto would be into that. He did one for Game Informer, and I don't know. It'd be fun to do something with Cotto in the future, but I'm sure Game Informer folks would be like, stop only focusing on Game Informer. But yeah, Cotto is welcome to do anything he wants over here. I think Cotto would be a good guest for MinnFAQs in the future. I think him and Helgeson would have some really interesting discussions. Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. What? The Devolverland Expo is a game you can play on Steam? You're running through an abandoned convention center. Maybe a good goatee hunt. What? See, this is the problem with my Better Quest, Jeffem, is I am not on Twitter to see what the hell is going on. Devolverland Expo. This is awesome. I want to check that out. Let's put that down, honestly, as a goatee hunt contender. Or is that just a bonus stream at that point?
I don't know.
Okay, Devolverland.
Either way.
Devolverland. Okay, we got to wrap up questions here. Yarrow, in the same vein of playing competitive games, it'd be cool to have some stream where you guys play against each other in a multiplayer game instead of together. That would be very fun. Get really competitive about it. I agree. Jawar, hello. What do you think about the AC Valhalla releasing so close to Cyberpunk? Think the timing will hurt either of their sales? I could see it hurting AC a little bit, but I think AC is one of those games where, people are still playing Odyssey. I think once they put the thing on sale, I think it'll sell I think both of them are going to have really long legs, and you're going to pretty quickly forget that they came out within 2 days of each other. But it is wild that timing is so close. And then it makes you think, do they know? Well, obviously they know when the next-gen systems are launching, so if they're both going right in that week, it seems like a pretty safe bet. James Smith, no hard feelings, but I have to maintain my Discord avatar indefinitely now for Deepest Dive for Little Women. I get it, James Smith. Yarrow says, not expecting you to give specific numbers, but how do you come up with the cuts you give to the cohorts? Did you talk to other patrons or people running their own business? Oh, that's an interesting, tricky question. Is a lot of discussion. It's that tricky thing, early on about is this ballpark feeling right? And I was like, well, I think this one's feeling better. Okay, what about this one? And then everybody leaves feeling kind of gross and greedy and terrible, but it's like, okay, this seems like a good number. And the nice thing too is since everybody's, except for me, part-time with MinnMax, is that weird thing of okay, if you don't think that number's fair, that's fair, but then, you're welcome to just slow down a little bit on your end until you feel like it is fair. But
yeah,
that has to be
scale how much you're putting into it to fit the number.
Let's see. James Smith said, I'd love to hear more of Cotto talking. It's a rare treat. Jawar, hello. Jeffem, are you less likely to finish Red Dead 2 because of how much crap Hanson gives you over it?
Probably not, no.
Oh, great.
I should say that so that he'll stop giving me so much crap, but realistically, no.
Sure.
I'll get to it when I get to it.
Okay. I'm curious how it is aged after Last of Us, because a lot of, it's not the same story, obviously, but a lot of those, wow things from Red Dead 2 are, the performances and the tech, and I feel like they're also big wow moments from The Last of Us, except Last of Us looks better in a lot of ways, and performances, I don't know if I can make that call, but it's probably getting pretty close. I think I'd probably still give it to Red Dead 2. But Jawar, hello. Obligatory question. What are you looking for Great Goatee Hunt this week? Great Goatee Hunt stream tomorrow at noon on our Twitch channel. Please follow us on Twitch. I'm thinking of putting Deadly Premonition 2, Curse of the Moon 2, Rocket Arena, Death Stranding's out on PC. Do you all think we should put Death Stranding on PC on there? Jeff, what do you think about that one?
Did we do Death Stranding as a Goatee Hunt?
It didn't win
in the past.
I think we had it in the poll and it didn't win. I believe.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Probably won't win again this time.
Yeah.
It's just a PC release.
Right. And Devolverland, yeah, I'd love to do. Maybe that would be a bonus stream, but doing a bonus stream is kind of tough this week with also Deepest Dive discussion because that's the day. Yarrow says, I feel Death Stranding wouldn't be a fun stream, too slow at the beginning. It is pretty slow, but it's still fun to see, and I want to see it on the PC, you know? So, yeah, some combo there. But if anybody else has any ideas, let me know. Ooblets is coming out on Wednesday. Deadly Premonition 2 is also probably going to be pretty rough to do as a stream, but I'm just curious tech-wise what that thing looks like. So let us know what you'd like. Oh, Yarrow says, I finished Devolverland in about 45 minutes. Okay, so maybe that would work as a Great Goatee Hunt stream. I just don't think it would win against these other ones.
Every time we say that, the thing that we think is going to win never does, and the thing that we think there's no way does win. So
yeah, it's very tricky. All right, that is it for MinnFAQs. Let you know what's coming up this week at MinnMax overall. Obviously, Deepest Dive and The Last of Us Part 2, the grand finale. That's going to be on Wednesday, and we're doing a thing like we did for Final Fantasy VII. We're going to be doing that discussion raw. We're not going to be listening to other spoiler casts and stuff just to not have our opinions influenced. And then maybe we do a bonus episode after. I know some people were asking for like Kyle Hilliard's thoughts. So that might be a good opportunity to do like a bonus episode next week and get Kyle on that one or something like that. We'll talk about it. We'll figure something out. And then we have Min Tracks on Friday. That is with a guy who works at Skybound named Justice Harrison. And the albums are, oh my gosh, it's going live later today, but it's Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which Helgeson picked, which I love Pink Floyd, and I'm very excited to hear Helgeson talk about Pink Floyd because I've never heard that. And then the other album is Idea and Abilities, an album called By the Throat is the one that Justice picked. So we'll have a post up asking for questions as well for that one. And then this week's episode of the MinnMax show is going to be special because we'll be talking about some big games that are out. There's a lot to unpack with Ubisoft, stuff like that. And then also we'll be joined by our favorite baby boy, Leo Vader. It's going to be his first episode of the MinnMax show overall, his first time on the channel, period. So that'll be a fun debut with him. It'll be nice to hear his voice again. And so those are the plans right now. There might be some bonus things thrown in there. Let us know what you want to see from MinnMax this week overall. Thank you for being here. James Smith, Taylor Reinsch, Lazy by Name, Yarrow, Jawar Hello, Travis McGaughey, Captain Stubbs 1, William Garcia. Did I mention Jawar Hello, Major Panda, Bob Buell, Chris Fader. Everybody, thank you for being in here. Thank you for being a great community. And let's work to make it better. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.